I'm going to preview the number 11 Baylor versus number 2 Houston men's basketball game. And the game will be played February 24th at 11 a.m. Central Time on CBS. And this game kind of lost its luster because Baylor lost to BYU last night. But Baylor is coming off of a late night game against West Virginia on Saturday, then travel all the way across to BYU for a Tuesday game. I don't get whoever scheduled that, and it was in terms of that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I'm gonna go over like the overall record for both of these teams and conference record. So Houston's 23-3 on the year, 10-3 in the conference, and Baylor is 19-7 on the year, 8-5 in the conference. So it's a big game for both of these teams because if Houston loses this game, they'll be tied with Iowa State with 4 conference losses. And if Baylor wins this game, obviously if Baylor loses this game, they drop down in the standings, as we all know. And obviously a win, they'll keep themselves closer to the top 4 teams in the league here. So, what are some players to keep an eye on for Houston? And I'll put the outlook on Houston men's basketball in the description below. And this first guy, Baylor fans, you should know. It's L.J. Cryer, number 4, 6'1", 200-pound guard. That's a senior. 15 points per game, 76 for 201 on threes, 42 for 49 on free throws, 2.4 rebounds per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 1.1 steals per game, 1.8 fouls per game. And I apologize if I'm looking down because I cannot memorize all these stats here. So now Jamal Shed, number 1, 6'1", 200-pound guard. That's a senior. 13.3 points per game, 33 for 94 on threes. He had a big game last game if you look back at the last game against Iowa State, by the way. Including that second half. So 47 for 59 on free throws, 3.9 rebounds per game, 5.8 assists per game, 1.9 turnovers per game, 2.3 steals per game, 0.6 blocks per game, 2 fouls per game. Then is Emmanuel Sharp, number 21, 6'3", 205-pound guard. That's a sophomore. 12.6 points per game, 53 for 151 on threes. 86 for 102 on free throws, 3.9 rebounds per game, 1 turnover per game, 1.6 steals per game, 2.2 fouls per game. And there's Jerwan Roberts, number 13, 6'7", 235-pound forward. That's a senior. 9 points per game, 0 for 1 on threes, 28 for 54 on free throws. So that's his kryptonite. 7 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 1 turnover per game, 1 steal per game, 0.8 blocks per game, 1.9 fouls per game. And there's Damian Dunn, number 11, 6'5", 205-pound guard. That's a senior. 6.5 points per game, 17 for 53 on threes, 45 for 67 on free throws, 2.2 rebounds per game, 1.2 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.4 fouls per game. And there's Javier Francis, Javier. I apologize if I butchered that name. Number 5, 6'8", 240 pounds forward. That's a junior. 5.9 points per game, 29 for 54 on free throws, 5.5 rebounds per game, 0.7 turnovers per game, 1.8 steals per game, 1.4 blocks per game, 2.4 fouls per game. And there's obviously Malik Wilson, number 8, 6'2", 175-pound guard. That's a senior, 4 points per game. And he did better than that in the previous game, I believe, if you go back the numbers, and in the past as well. So 4 for 20 on threes, 12 for 19 on free throws, 3 rebounds per game, 0.6 turnovers per game, 1 steal per game, 1.2 fouls per game. And there's Joseph Tugler, number 25, 6'7", 230-pound forward. That's a freshman, 3.7 points per game. 0 for 2 on threes, 19 for 41 on free throws, 4.2 rebounds per game, 1 steal per game, 1.2 blocks per game, 3.2 fouls per game. And I'm going to double check if I really need to go over any more guys than that. Because that's a lot of numbers thrown at y'all. But that's why I'm saying I'll put it in the description below so y'all could see it. Especially before game time. Okay, so I'm looking at the box score from the Iowa State game. And they're coming off of a win against Iowa State, as we all know. 73-65. So, and a top 10 showdown. In fact, a top 6. Yeah, I'm not going to go over the last. Actually, I'm going to go over one more guy because he did play last game, and it's Raymond Walker Jr., number 2, 6'4", 210-pound guard. It's junior, 2 points per game, 6 for 20 on threes, 17 for 26 on free throws, 3 rebounds per game, 1.1 fouls per game. And I'm going to say this up front across the board. You got to make adjustments on the fly and beat a more physical team. That's why BYU beat you, because you were not physical enough, especially the guards out there. I'm just telling the truth, and granted, I do not know the stats on Langston Love because he got hurt. He came back against BYU and he got hurt in the second half. So, I don't know what's going on there. So, I don't know if he's going to play. So, and I'm doing this ahead of time before all the injury update, all this stuff. So, that's why I'm mentioning that up front. You got to play ticked off, Baylor, and more motivated. You're coming off of a loss to BYU. I mean, it's the truth, and you got to out-hustle Houston. BYU out-hustled you last night, and I'm sure those guys know it. And you got to rebound the ball better. I mean, now, obviously, defensively, you got to make Houston uncomfortable shooting the ball. And you can't go under on screens. Go over. Especially on LJ Cryer. And you know that dude really well. I'm just telling the truth. And make those three-point shooters take long twos. And you don't want to give up like free wide open layups either. That's kind of what happened in the BYU game. It was part of his communication. You got to communicate better on defense and not allow like a wide open look. And the good news is Houston does not have a big that shoots threes like BYU did. That's the positive news going into this game, to be honest, is defending. Another thing I forgot to mention across the board, you got to limit your foul trouble. And obviously you want to get them in foul trouble. And I know the officiating might be questionable in this game, but you got to play through it. I mean, that's the truth. And especially if it's like on a shot that's like, hey, that's a foul. It's like, you got to make the shot anyway. I don't care if it's a 3 or a 2 or a layup. But you get the whole point in all this. And we need to contain the slashers. And one thing we have to do better than that BYU game is rebound the ball better. That's what killed Baylor last game against BYU. Look at all those can change points when you look at the numbers. Look at all those offensive rebounds. You got to be better on not allowing so many second chance points. Points on turners could be cut down as well because look at the numbers there too. But we didn't turn the ball over a ton. I mean, that's the truth. And you got to force turnovers on Houston. I mean, that's the truth. Too, and don't want to let them live at the free throw line. Especially the best guys at the free throw line. I'm just telling the truth about this. Too, I mean, and I'm not only make adjustments like first half to second half, I meant like possession by possession, timeout by timeout. But you get the whole point in all this. Now, offensively, you need to take care. I mean, and another thing on defense is limit the points in the paint as much as you can. Too, I mean, that's the truth. Now, offensively, you got to get some points on turns like you did against BYU. That really helped. Part of the reason why we were in that game and we had a fast start. So, but then BYU climbed back into it. I mean, that's the truth about it is. And you got to shoot better from 3, which I hope it was just an anomaly because you're traveling from one side of the country exactly across. And I hope scheduling for any of those teams going forward. If you're, it's better that way. You don't have to go one side of the country then go the other. But you get the whole point. And part of it's shot selection too. Part of it is you gotta have good shot selection. And I don't mind you driving to the basket either, and try to get some easy twos, like get some like points in the paint, and make your free throws count, which you did against BYU. You did that against BYU, so that was helpful. And all this, and we were making a lot of free throws. That's part of the reason why we were still in the game, because of that. And all this. And sometimes your best offense comes from your defense. So let's get some points on turnovers. You got to get some transition points. Obviously, on defense, you want to limit those as much as possible. I mean, that's the truth. And get some more second chance points. And you got to rebound the ball better. You got to out-rebound it. You got to be better than that. And you got to be ball tough in this game. Houston is physical. It's no secret. I mean, look at the games that they have had this year. I'm just telling the truth. And all this, and you don't want to have, obviously, have like a legal screen or offensive foul as a turnover, but I would prefer dead ball turnovers instead of live ball. But still, you will want as many turnovers as possible. You want to reduce that as much as you can. So, and you got to get to the free throw line, and you're going to make your free throws count. So, and I'm going to name certain individuals I need to step up. And obviously, I don't know if Langston Love is going to play or is he not. So if he gets to play, just do your role. And I know he might not be 100% still, but I wonder if it was precaution why he didn't play in that BYU game after he re-injured himself in the second half, or what? Or is it more severe? But I'm not willing to speculate on what really happened, like what the injury was, until I know it for a fact. I mean, it's just the truth. Because I just don't like to speculate, period. Obviously, Josh Uzuwuna needs to step up, especially like the rebounding category. And in case East Macy gets in foul trouble, that would be helpful for him to be there. And like, he had 4 rebounds, and I know he only had 4 points, but you got to make more layups, especially if they're like wide open or finish with dunks. And it would be helpful if Murillo would step up, especially if there's no Langston Love. We need him to step up. And thank goodness he's already played in a game kind of similar to this in terms of top 10 showdown, because of that Kansas game when we didn't have Langston Love play. So that really does help. And he had 6 points. I mean, and I get 2 of those points were from the flagrant 1 foul, but you get the whole point about it. I mean, that's the truth. And Caleb Lohner, he just doesn't need to go for threes. And I get he needs to be a little bit better offensively. I mean, just score something, but I wish he could just make threes more if he does attempt them. But if nothing else, rebound the ball. He didn't get any rebounds last game. 0. And I know he had an alley-oop dunk, but, still, he needs to be better on defense as well. And I know this, so, yeah. And that's pretty much going over all the bench guys right there in it, like, that could play. And Jonathan Tramuchacho might even play. Might. But he needs to do his role. But you get the whole point. And hopefully Ray J. Dennis has a better shooting game. I mean, 2 for 8 from the field and 2 for 2 on the free throws, and 0 for 4 on threes for 6 points. And some of those threes were good looks, though he did force up a few, like at least one I know of. But, I mean, if they're open, take them. And hopefully he does better. And Jacoby Walter had 13 points, but it was not efficient at all. 3 for 9 from the field, 0 for 3 on threes, but 7 for 9 at the free throw line. I mean, come on. And hopefully Jaden Nunn had. That was just a rough game for Jaden Nunn. He was efficient, 9 points on 3 for 6 shooting, 1 for 2 on threes, 2 for 2 on free throws, but he fouled out. And that's probably another part of the reason why our defense wasn't as good, because he was there on the bench. I mean, and Yves Missy, he did have 2 fouls. And he had a good game, 13 points and 7 rebounds. And 3 for 4 at the free throw line and 5 for 6 shooting. So, yeah, we need him to be stepping up in this game, especially against their bigs. And we got to rebound the ball better. And Jalen Bridges had a nice game. I mean, 15 points on 6 for 12 shooting, 3 for 8 on threes, 8 rebounds, 3 of those offensive, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turtle. But you get the whole point. He needs to go off in this game or be effective in this game and be a difference maker. Because I know he could come up big in some games in the past, and this is one of those that it would really help. And hopefully Jaden Nunn shoots better, and Ray J done this as well. And we need to shoot better from threes. 5 for 20. If nothing else, go to the basket. I mean, that's probably what we try to do against BYU. It's just every time BYU we were tied at 54 apiece. BYU outscored Baylor 24-17 for the rest of the way. And BYU responded really well after the flagrant 1 foul and got on the run. And the technical foul on the bench for BYU, and BYU went on a run. You got to take advantage of those type of situations. I mean, make your free throws, first of all. Second, don't allow a run to happen right after for the opposing team when all that happened for the opponent. And you got to stay composed. And I know you don't want to have like flagrant 1 fouls or flagrant 2 or even a technical foul. You got to stay composed. Because I know Houston will be physical. There is no question about it. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So make money out the score. So like and view. Comment video really helps YouTube algorithm so more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button. It's free the notification bell as well.